This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. Right now, we are speaking with John Kremer, who is the author of 1001 Ways to Market Your Books. He's also a mentor to authors who's sold over 1 billion books and founder of the Billion Book Initiative to help the next generation of book authors sell another 1 billion books. Over the past 37 years, he's helped thousands of authors, both major celebrities and those just starting out, to sell more books. Lots more books. I love it. Books, 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 books. John
That's
Kremer,
my focus.
Welcome aboard.
Hi, thanks a lot, Adam.
Okay, so your bio gives us a slight little taste of the first question or two, but we'll give you the opportunity to go into more detail. First question, how does the work you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and society at large?
Well, I help people to market their books, and books can change the world. They can change people's lives, and they have actually impacted the world in different ways depending on the book. But they provide information, inspiration, and entertainment. And so they really do have an impact on people. Sometimes a bad impact like Mein Kampf, but often a very good impact, based on, books that other people have written that help to change the thinking of the world, the culture of a nation, things like that. So I really like helping authors to have that kind of impact.
Yeah. So tell us in a little more detail what it is you actually do.
Well, I wrote the book on the subject, 1001 Ways to Market Your Books. And, everybody will tell you that is the book on the subject. It's a big book, it's thick. You can see it in the background there, the thickness of it anyway.
Yes.
But I also consult with authors and publishers, as well as provide various courses and trainings that will help them to market their books more effectively. And I do a special program called the Book Marketing Blast-Off service, where I actually teach people. I consult with them for 2 months. Basically, they can ask me anything they want via a video like this, phone calls, emails, so on.
Great. So in your experience, what are some of the most frequently asked questions that people bring to you as they're working through their process of deciding to work with you?
Well, the first one is always, what is the best way to market my book? But then they ask a question I really don't like that much. How can I market my books without doing any work? And the thing is, all of marketing takes a certain amount of commitment, time, to build an audience and to build people that will talk about your product and your service so that you can do something. And then the last question is even worse. Can you market my book for me? I'll give you a percentage of my sales. And I'm going, well, gosh, if I'm going to spend time doing that for your book, why not just me doing it for my own book? Because I get the full percentage then. Whatever percentage you give me isn't going to pay for my time by itself. It just isn't. And it would make much more sense for me to market one of my books.
Right. Well, one of the challenges And this is one of the things that you and I understand fairly well, and is still not exactly known to the entire world, is even if you're represented by a publisher, that doesn't mean they're going to do all the work to sell the book for you. There's still a fair amount of heavy lifting you may need to do depending on the range of services they offer
Right.
and what it is that you're looking to invest in. So it's a unique conversation depending on who you're working with and how you're working with them. Now,
But
with that, go ahead.
every publisher, the first question they'll ask a potential author is, do you have an audience? Because they want to work with authors that already have built up an audience of people that are saying, we want your book, we want your book, because that makes the publisher's job so much easier. And then, the publisher should, if they like your book and they've made it one of their top priorities, they will do a lot to help get you booked in a major publicity that would be harder for you to do on your own.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Now, the next question I have is, what are some questions you wish people would ask?
I would always want them to ask, what are the 3 most important things I can do to market my book? If they don't ask me that question, I ask it for them and tell them, because it's so important that they focus. You have to focus, and then you don't want to do, like my book is 1,001 ways to market your books, but I would never tell people to do all 1,001 ways. I say focus on 3 to 5 that you feel comfortable with, that you feel that you have the time, the talent, and the money to carry out, or the support from your audience and so on.
Right, the
Yeah.
same way that there are various ways to leverage a podcast, and you got to choose what works best for you. Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Another question is, what should I do this week to market my book? So many authors, they want to think like, what can I buy? Because they tend to want to find somebody else to do it for them. Authors like to write. They don't tend to like to market. Now, that's why I like to work with business people who are working on a book, because they got more of the marketing mindset and they understand what it takes to market something. But you get authors who have just written a book and that's all they really want to do is write. And I
Yeah,
understand that. I understand the impulse, but at some point you have to get out and let people know, because again, the author is going to be the best spokesperson for their book. And
right.
there's just no question about that. And the other question is a tough one for authors, and that is, I would like them to ask, how can I create the relationships I need to market my books? And it's really tough. It's amazing. I've worked with some authors and I tell them exactly what to do to market their book. You have to create relationships, because relationships is 80% of marketing. And if you can't learn how to create a relationship, and there are some authors, they understand that and they started building their own. There are other authors, I tell them exactly, talk to your local bookstore, do this, talk to these people. And it's like pulling teeth to get them to do it.
Yeah. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit and let's get to know John Kremer a little bit better. What is something that folks who know you would be surprised to learn about you?
Well, most people don't know that I graduated with a degree in anarchy.
Okay, that's
I
that's
had,
an interesting take.
yes, in college, I had a self-designed major built around anarchy. So I studied the historical, philosophical, psychological, and historical impacts of what anarchy meant. And I was the first student to ever graduate with a degree in anarchy. There was another student that graduated the year after me that also designed a major in anarchy. His wasn't as good.
What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
I always wish people would say he's a good person. I love spending time with him. It's the kind of people I like to create relationships with, are the people that I love just spending time with. I mean, one of my big champions is Jack Canfield of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And I love spending time with Jack. It's just so much fun and we get to sometimes just sit together and talk. And I just love that about Jack. And we really have a good time when we talk with each other. And we genuinely like each other, and that's
Yeah.
always a major factor in terms of the relationships you build. And the thing is, most people know how to make friends. So it's just marketing is basically building the right kind of friends, creating friends with people that have some sort of influence, like Jack.
Yeah. I met him once, and this was probably about 15 years ago. It was at the first seminar I ever attended in the entrepreneurial space. It's back when
Okay.
James Malinchak was doing the college speaking boot camps, and they
Okay,
were in
sure.
little seminar rooms with 30 people. And Canfield was one of the guest speakers. I had a chance to speak with him for about 5 minutes. And I'd been a full-time entrepreneur for about a week and a half. I didn't understand celebrity at the time. So I went up to Mr. Canfield, it's such an honor. He said, John, and if you ever call me Mr. Canfield again, oh my goodness. And then we laughed, and he found out he's just a regular down-to-earth sort of dude.
He is. He's just he's.
Well, actually, he said Jack. Actually, he said Jack, not John. But you get the idea.
I was wondering, did I not know him?
John Canfield. Yeah, is his real? Yeah. Well, his friends call him John. I'm not sure how you know him.
I know him as Jack.
Yes.
And so we've it's just the first time I met him. He and his and Mark were signing books at the book expo, and I came up and he said, "Who should I make it out to?" And I said, "John Kremer." And Jack goes, "Whoa, Mark, this is John Kremer," because they had used my book, and I have a great video on my website where Jack is talking about how they used my book. They basically put the entire book up on a wall and tore down the ideas as they did them.
Wow. That's fascinating. Now, if you could go back in time and change one thing you've done or one thing you've experienced, what would it be and why?
The thing I would have done, I think, differently, if looking at hindsight, is I would have spent more time trying to sell my original books to some of the major publishers. Because, right now, most of the work I've done has been self-published. I do have a Random House book and I have a Wiley book. But, it's really a big publisher gives you a sort of legitimacy that you don't get by self-publishing. And there are books that I would love to write today that have nothing to do with marketing. They have to do with things like prayer and cooking. I have some recipe books I want to do and things like that. So for those, I'd rather not have to self-publish them. I'd rather sell them to a publisher that really had a built-in audience, which I don't really have for those topics.
Right. Now, we've already covered the thing about Jack Canfield. So maybe that's the answer, or maybe you have a different answer. What famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet, and what questions would you ask them?
Well, I've already met Jack, so I don't have to ask him.
Yeah.
My favorite author when I was a kid growing up was Henry David Thoreau, Walden.
Yep.
And so my question would be basically, will you walk around Walden Pond with me? And then I would just pick his brain. And I would love to do that. I found him fascinating as a writer and very passionate. And, so I feel a great affinity for him. And I would love to talk to him if I had a chance.
That's awesome. What motivates, inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
Well, the answer is very clear. It's love. I love what I do, and I love the people I'm aiming to help. And as long as you have that, you can pass through any difficulty because you're just trying to help people. And so that's what really works for me. And I really strongly believe in that. I think people have to really care about the people they're trying to help. If they don't, they're going to do a bad job. Marketing or writing the book or creating the service or product that they have, they just won't do. I don't like cynicism in the sense of somebody saying, "Wow, I'll just knock off this product and sell it to all the suckers." That's not me.
Yeah. No. I don't. It doesn't strike me as such. So I know you have a special gift for our listeners, and I will share that with them.
Yes.
But in general, right now, what is one action you would encourage our listeners to take as they roll off having finished listening to this interview?
Write the first page of your book. Write one page. Do it today. Do it in the next 10 minutes. Write that first page. if you haven't done it already.
Yeah.
If you have, then write the second page or the 18th page or the 21st page, whatever. But take an action. I was doing an interview with another podcaster a few weeks ago, and I asked him, do you have a book? And he says, yes, I do, an idea for it. And I told him, okay, when we get off, write the first page.
Great. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. And before you go, I know you have a little something for us, which I'll share now. And that is, I encourage all of our listeners to go to bookmarketingbestsellers.com/MN, Michael Nicholas, 5GQ6. If you go to our website at brilliancepluspassion.com, you'll see that link. And what it is it is a free audio on how to create a New York Times bestseller without breaking the bank. You're going to listen into the above video as John Kremer describes 10 ways to create a New York Times bestseller without breaking the bank. I almost repeated myself there. And with that, John Kremer, thank you so much for being with us. It's been an honor, and believe me, in education.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. You asked good questions.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.